Hey folks, thank you for joining us again for another exciting episode of YOML. This is the Year of Magical Learning podcast. So today is a brand new book, but it still has a reflection number is 277. So
Yeah, first off, I can't believe we're on 277. That's wild. I saw that today and I was like, man, like we're getting close, man, to the finish line. I'm gonna actually have to start making more blog posts. I'm on 384 now, so I've got like an extra 20 or so that I gotta make. But I see that now and I'm like, man, we're gonna run out of shit soon. I gotta keep writing every day. I'm no longer writing after each book. I'm only writing after books that I really like and I want to capture my memory palace of the book. As a matter of fact, the ones that I'm not writing about, I actually forgot that I've read them.
There's no need for you to keep
right.
it. I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly. No,
what's the point of keeping like things that is no use to you?
There is no point. But it's even worse than that because I like literally don't even remember that I read the book. Like I had
And
to
that's
like
a good thing. That's a
yeah.
good thing because you want to leave room for the things that you want to keep.
I agree. There's no problem with it. It's just funny how I'm doing this differently now. Like before it was, finish a book, write a reflection, dig it out, like figure
It's
out how to
work.
pull
It's
out a
work.
thought.
Work because you're forcing yourself to write reflection on a book, whether you like it or not. That's work. It's forcing.
Right.
When you force this nature, it's work. If you go down the river, it's the tailwind. If you have to force anything, eventually you're gonna have to use willpower, and eventually you're gonna exhaust yourself.
Agreed. To a certain extent, agree. I did have fun doing it though the whole time as well, even when I was forcing it out of me. But it was
But
always
still, I guarantee you could not last forever. The
I
point
no
is,
no
if
no
I were to scale the river, right, I can
right
do that forever because I put no energy into it because it's always down the river. But if you
yeah
go upriver, even if it's the calmest and the easiest road, right, it doesn't matter if it chips just a little bit of my willpower. Eventually, I will get exhausted. So
yeah.
imagine if I put a single sand on a scale. I keep putting single sand on a scale. It's not much, not noticeable, but eventually that sand, that's a single grain of sand will tip the scale. So that's my,
Yeah.
it's still at.
You saw what happened to me around like book 300 or so, where I was like, oh man, I can see the finish line, but it's still so far away. 65 reflections and books to go. It's like I did have that little lull. And you're right. So on to the reflections. So this book today is
Onward.
at this point in time, this was the longest book that I'd ever read in my life. It was
Longer than the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
oh, that's not that long. That's not long at all. Black Swan, Thinking Fast and Slow, that was longer than those. The Name of the Rose, that one was like 22-hour audible book.
Yikes.
I'm trying to think what else was the longest ones. I feel like maybe I've done a couple 20-hour ones. Definitely many like 18-hour ones. I've probably done at least 10 18-hour audiobooks and then maybe 5 over 20 hours, but nothing like over 22 or something like that. This Nelson Mandela book was a 600-page, 27-hour audible book. To date, that was the longest book that I'd ever read. So this is a long one, man, but it was good. It was a good one. It's Nelson Mandela's autobiography, The Long Walk to Freedom. This book is exactly what you think it is. It's Nelson Mandela telling the story of Nelson Mandela's life, and very detailed from his childhood all the way through everything of his life. I mean, he told it all, right? And a big portion of this book he actually wrote while he was on Robben Island in the prison, and he wrote it in secret, and then he stashed it away and was able to get it off to a publisher to write the first half of this book, and then he wrote the second half after he was released with an autobiographer to help him to put it all together. But he wrote it all, and it's all about his life and all about everything that he did and all the people that he did it with, and that's it. I mean, it's just about Nelson Mandela's life. It's called A Long Walk to Freedom. Because this is such a long book, and because he's such an impactful person, not just because of what society tells us, but because of this book. I mean, he was an impactful person even for me to just learn about his life, So I had to give him 2 reflections on this one for sure. I definitely learned something from him. So I thought it worthwhile to get a 2-parter on this one as well. The first top reflection is purpose isn't a destination, it's a marathon. I started this reflection off by saying in the 600 plus pages of Nelson Mandela's life story, I don't think he ever said once that he laid out the grand vision or the goal for his life ever. Like, I don't think he ever once said like, this is how I'm envisioning the world being. This is how I'm trying to bring this out. This is my dream, right? That never was mentioned by the guy ever once, which kind of shocked me, to be honest with you. Like, I figure, these people that are like such, I mean, he's Nelson Mandela. I mean, how many other people are in this world that you say his name and everybody's like, oh yeah, Matiba. He's just one of those revered figures that you feel like this guy probably just knew more than the rest of the world or something like that. And something was special about this guy. So I figured it was probably more like Steve Jobs-esque or something like that, where I have this massive vision, which, to be fair, I haven't read his autobiography yet. I'm actually going to do that one next here soon. So maybe I'm misspeaking about Steve Jobs, but I get the feeling of these business founders and people that like these grand visions, the Elon Musks of the world. Like, I'm going to put a guy on Mars. That guy said, how many times have you seen his boring tunnels? I got these grand visions all over the place. Nelson Mandela never said anything like that ever about anything in his life. As a matter of fact, it was the exact opposite of that. Somehow he knew his purpose from day one. When he was in school and college, he fought for equality and freedom from injustices for his classmates. After college, he fought for equal rights for his clients as an attorney, for Black people to have equal rights in South Africa. Then he became the leader of the African National Congress, and he fought for freedom and equal rights of all the Blacks in South Africa. Then he got exiled from South Africa because he became labeled as a terrorist. And then he fought from abroad for equality and went to go learn about other people's cultures and how they operate life, and helped to fight from abroad as best he could. And then even when he was in prison every single day, he even fought for equality and equal rights for himself and his prisoners. I mean, they staged, like starvation, food, what do you call it? Hunger strikes. They staged, all these other different kinds of protests while they just wanted long pants, because they, for whatever reason, wearing shorts to them was considered disrespectful, or wanting certain just freedoms that should be offered to anybody, kind of thing. Like, this guy, like, fought every single day of his life for equality, and no matter what his situations was, no matter where he was, no matter who he was doing it for, every single day he lived his purpose, like, and that was to fight for equal rights for everybody around him. And that was what he did. And that's why this title is Purpose Isn't a Destination, It's a Marathon. Like, I feel like so many people think of purpose as this grand vision, like, what's the purpose of my life? Purpose is like every single day you're doing something towards your purpose, because it's not a purpose if you're not. Like, people don't sit around and talk about, well, I have this grand vision, of like what my purpose will bring to this world or something like that. That's great, fine. Like, I don't think that's your purpose. It's, what do you want to fight for every single day? What do you want to bring out in this world? What do you want to try your best to create every single day? And that's what Nelson Mandela did, and that's why he's Nelson Mandela. He not only did this stuff every single day, he did it despite himself most of the time. No one ever, and once again, this is my knowledge of the book and his own story that he said, nobody ever told him to do this stuff. He was never put in a situation where they were like, Nelson, you need to fight for equality or something like that. He just did it. Like, that's what he wanted to do, and he did it every single day, no matter what environment he was in, no matter what was thrown at him. Even when he had no power to do it, he still tried to do it. This is just what he did. This is what living a purpose-driven life looks like. And it reminds me of a marathon, right? You don't run a marathon by dreaming about crossing the finish line and having all your friends there with a beer and a banana to celebrate with you. You run a marathon by putting one foot in front of the other, and then you eventually cross the finish line, right? That's how purpose works as well. You take a step every single day, and you do what you can with what you can toward whatever you care about that's so important to you. And come hell or high water, you figure out a way to make it happen. And that's what he did. And it's pretty inspiring, honestly. It was a great reminder for me that every day, like, when I talk about living a purpose-driven life and doing stuff, living for two with Amelia, like, every day that we take another step and we read another book, or we write another reflection, or we have another conversation with you, or we do our mentoring with my teammates now, or with other people, tennis, or whatever it is that we're doing when we're living for two, like, every single day, that's how I live my purpose. And I don't know where that's going to take us. I don't really care. You take the next step along the way, right? That's it. That's what I learned from this book. It was a great reminder of, purpose isn't a destination. It's a marathon, and you just keep taking another step. You end up where you end up. So love to get your thoughts.
So I agree. I mean, I think Nelson Mandela definitely lived his purpose, because going back to what we said before in one of our previous episodes is, how do you become world class?
Just do it.
The thing is, this guy is world class at being Nelson Mandela,
freedom fighter, yeah.
Right? So the thing is that I'm saying is, when you talking about purpose isn't a destination, right? Purpose is, let me put it this way. If, for example, if I take you as an example, say, hey, I want you to stop talking and I don't want you to interact with anyone, what would happen to you?
Exhaust a whole lot of willpower, and I would.
So let's say
I would become Hampton J. Pig, and it would suck the soul out of me. Let's say you don't speak Chinese, right? I guarantee you, I can drop you in China,
and you will try to communicate in any way, anyhow possible, regardless what kind of restriction they put on you. You will want to communicate because that's who you are. And to me, that's an example of what a purpose is. A purpose is what you have, and what you have to use. You can say, okay, I am this, I have this, ability to connect, to talk, to communicate. That's an ability. That's a purpose. And you have to use your purpose. A purpose isn't a destination per se, because if you, for example, if I give you a pair of lungs, you have to breathe. It's not like, oh, I got a pair of lungs and I'm going to keep it safe. Right. You have to use the purpose is something that you have to use. If you don't, it cannot be it doesn't work that way. Purpose isn't what you're going to attain. It's not a final destination of anything. It's about the journey. It's like, you get a pair of lungs, you gotta breathe. You get a pair of legs, you're gonna walk. You got a pair of wings, you're gonna fly. You don't have to pair of wings.
Shed and you're not walking, you're dying. I mean, you're Sherman in the shed.
So what I'm saying is, when you live your purpose, like I say, Nelson Mandela is living his purpose, and because you live your work, when you live your purpose, you automatically will eventually become world class without trying to be world class.
Because he was never trying. I mean, he never said once in this book, ever once.
Back in the other episode that you asking me, what do you want to be a world class? I said, I don't want to be world class at anything. I just want to do what I like to do, right? And that makes me better than people because I spend more time doing it because I'm driven to it. I want to do it. That's like, you say, hey, I love to play tennis. I will willing to pay to play tennis. People love to go and eat gourmet food and become the foodie or whatever. They will go and will spend money to become a foodie. So that is what's drives them, what's driven them, right? They will automatically become world class at what it is. So when you look at this guy, right? This guy, you think this is like a tremendous feat that he have achieved, but to him, that's who he is.
It wasn't
regardless of whether you put him in prison or you put him in another country or you tell him not to write or not to fight for justice, he will fight. Like I told you, if I were to say, hey, Chris, shut the fuck up, you're still going to figure out how to get your word out.
I started chuckling when you said that because we were just in Mexico 2 weeks ago. And to your point, like I never shut the fuck up, right? We had been walking for I ran 6 miles in the morning and then we had walked 12 miles around the city throughout the course of the day. So my little Apple phone or whatever health things that had gone 18 plus miles or something like that on a particular day. And we were getting a drink at the end of the night. We had this awesome balcony that overlooked the main central square in Mexico City. If you've ever seen any pictures of Mexico City, it's always the big cathedral and the big square in the middle of our hotel was literally on the square and the balcony was overlooking that whole area. So we're up at this awesome little bar on our balcony, getting seated we were waiting to get seated at the bar, and the server came over or the hostess came over and was sitting us down at our table so we can eat some dinner. And I was joking with Felicia. I was like, man, how do you say my dogs are barking in Spanish? And I was like, would it be like mi perros dice, how do they say barking? I was like, I don't know, woof woof, or something like that. So I told the hostess lady as she was sitting next, I was like, does this make sense to you? I was like, mi perros dice woof woof, and she started laughing at me, and I was like, what are you laughing at? She was like, what are you talking about? I was like, do you understand what I'm saying? And she goes, no, but it was funny. I mean, I understood what you were saying, but she didn't understand what I was saying. Apparently, my dogs are barking isn't a saying in Mexico. You know what I'm saying when I mean that, right?
Yep.
Yeah, feet are tired. Okay, anyway, to your point, I was laughing even though I was in another country and I'm trying to cobble together the dumbest statement ever, that has nothing to do with anything. Nobody gives a shit, and I'm trying to figure out how to say
that's the inner energy that drives you. And when you do that, it doesn't matter. Like I said, oh, this guy's, he writes in prison and he fights everywhere he goes. And, well, that's who he is. You cannot expect Chris not to try to communicate. That's not.
It's even worse too, because he does it despite himself. I mean, I don't know if you know anything about Nelson Mandela's life, but his wife, Winnie, that waited for him for 27 years or whatever it was when he was in prison and diligently picked up the fight. And she even, was the person that was the proxy for him, out there in the public. When they a year after he got out of prison officially, they divorced, because they were I can't, I can't do it. I can't be like, this isn't the idea of the guy that was in jail and the idea of the guy that actually ended up, back with them and trying to figure out how to live life together was like, we still love each other, but like, we got to get a divorce. Not only that, like he was an awful father to his children. Like he was never there. He was always off helping other fucking people to like.
That's not who he is.
I know.
You can't expect a beaver to be an eagle, right? That's what I'm saying is you can't try and say, I want this, I want that. No. Figure out who it is that you are born with, right? What it is that you're born with. That's who you are. And to fulfill that duty, to fulfill that talent. If you're given a talent, i.e. a purpose, you have to use it. Because if you have no talent for fatherhood, I have no talent for husbandry, right?
Right. Yes.
It doesn't matter who you are. You cannot fulfill that duty, right? You have no talent to do that. You can't say, hey, I want to be a singer. How can you be a singer? You don't have a voice.
Exactly. But the irony of all ironies, though, about the whole fatherhood thing, like he was called Madiba by everybody, which means he was the Timbo chief that he was, descendant of, means father. Madiba means father. Like everybody called him father. Like, but his own children didn't have a fucking father.
The word father isn't what you mean by having this, father mean, to me, a father means you are the person that passes on you something. It's not what you. It's not your dad. Okay, it's not a parent, right? Your father, as a father, you pass on something. That's what the word means. It's not like, hey, I'm a father. No, it is the person that passes on something that gives you some kind of inheritance, right?
Right.
The father to the people. I'm the father because I give you the fight of injustice. I give you the freedom that I was able to get. To me, the word father means just that. It's not to say, hey, I give life to you, and that I have to be around and do anything. You can give birth to a kid and be gone. You still the father. You basically give the kid the inheritance, right? You're not the parent. You're not the daddy type of the father, right? That's not what father means.
Fair enough. I mean, that's actually pretty suiting for who he is. There were so many people that looked up to him and just the way that he lived his purpose in his life. That was a respect thing for him, saying like, you took care of us, kind of stuff. But he actively did it for everybody. To your point, I mean, yes, it goes back to the whole living your purpose, every single thing and what he does. I'm saying that he did that sacrificing a lot of things that other people would go.
Not really.
I mean, he sacrificed being a husband. He sacrificed being a.
He doesn't want to be the husband. He doesn't want to be the father.
I know.
You forget you may want to be a good father.
Right? I know. I'm
because
talking about
that's important to you.
Right.
But for him, say, I need. For example, let's say you're a beaver, right? Is a beaver a good parent? I don't know, but we know for a fact that beavers are good damn builders, right? That's all they do. They spend all the time for them to go and, hey, I'm going to take care of my young until the young has become like this, about protect the young and ferocious. Like so you can't say the beaver sacrifice and not taking care of the young and become this grand builder. It's like, no.
I actually don't know.
You are who you are, right? Whatever that it is, your talent, your purpose, you want to do that. The rest of them, you want to do less of it. So for him, it's not a sacrifice. So if you think you sacrifice something, you are not doing what it is your purpose is calling you. Because if you say, hey, I want to be a good parent, because you have that particular gene that wants to be a good parent, then go become a good parent. So like when people say I'm sacrificing, to me, a lot of people are a bunch of BS. Because what you mentioned in the beginning about, like, he never say, hey, this is my goal, my grand vision, because no one knows. No one knows the future. If they do, right, they become God or something, right? To anyone who can tell you, hey, I want to send people to Mars and this is my grand vision, a bunch of BS, okay? Because no one knows what tomorrow will bring. You agree with me? So if anyone say, hey, this is my grand vision. So there are billions of people who say, hey, this is my grand vision. Well, probability one of them because say, well, I say this and I become that. Then you take that as a, hey, if I state my dream, my vision, it will come true. But it's only come true for that one particular guy that is like 1 in a billion. And what happened to the rest of them? Become what we call the survivorship bias, right? So anyone who has ever gone out there and tell you, hey, I built this and I built this and I had this whole plan out, blah, blah. They're a bunch of liars.
For sure.
Because I can tell you right now is I don't even know what the next hour will bring. Because next hour something could come suddenly and say, hey, true. You're supposed to meet with Chris for the next hour, blah blah blah, but something come up. That's what you call emergency, right? Emergency come up. How do you know it come up? You don't know. But I'm saying is you don't know if life will leave you today, tonight, in next hour, next 5 minutes, or tomorrow. You don't know. Right. And anyone who said I have this vision, right? And told you that, hey, my vision comes true, it's by coincidence. I mean, like, it's like 0.00001% chance, right? Or you're a fucking liar.
Yeah, I 1000% agree. We've been very clear about our vision for Clubany, and it's really just people getting a chance to live a balanced existence.
As long as you live your life,
doing the stuff they love to do with the people they love to do it. That's our only vision. That is not a vision. That is a statement.
That's a want. That's a want. Because to me, it's like you give me, hey, true. What do you want to do?
Fair enough.
Hey, I have planned out that I want to eat cake. No, I was just driven to eat cake. Some people can't eat cake, so you can't say, oh, let's have this vision to plan and eat cake all day long. No, you play tennis, right? You have this urge to go play tennis. And you're going to find ways to play tennis, right? You have this urge to people, right? You have this urge to communicate with people. You're going to find ways to communicate with people. Even if they don't speak your language, you're going to figure out how to talk to them.
I agree.
So it's an inner drive that you have. Basically, it's driven by
in the present. Like, to act in the present is like the inner drive you're talking about is I am compelled to act in the present.
Exactly. It's that something that it's not like you have this grand vision that, hey, I planned it out and this was my goal and then I'm execute it. No, something tells me I'm not happy. I need to do something. I have to blah blah blah. It's something that is drive within you as a collections and a patterns of DNAs that say, hey, I need to breathe, right? I need to talk. I need to eat. So the thing is, what happens if you don't eat? Regardless, say, hey, I'm not going to eat anymore. So I'm not going to breathe anymore. Just decide, hey, I won't breathe anymore. It's not like you can decide that.
You can decide.
Most people can't decide.
I mean, they wouldn't do it for long.
Most people can't decide. Most people can decide. There's a very small percentage based on the total population that people have decided to take their own life, right? Because they have gone through some dramatic, but even in the grand numbers, right, it's a very, very small percent. And you say, well, I have this plan, this grand vision to not breathe anymore. Well, think about it. Hey, you just can't. Like, among the 8 billion people that's on the planet, right? How many people wants to have the urge to breathe? Go ahead and hold your breath.
I mean, you could have a vision of humans that don't have to breathe. Like, what if we could just not have to breathe? Like, and then we wouldn't have to worry about, global carbon emissions and moving to Mars or something like that.
Because I asked you before, hey, you're talking about this accounting, right? You have no fucking interest in
I hate it.
I hate it so
much. I hate it so much. Like, I can't even put into words to you how much I hated that. But everything
Chris,
about.
I'm telling you, you're sacrificing a lot to Chris.
I almost didn't get into the upper division of my business school, which blows my mind, by the way. I'm a pretty good student, especially when I care about stuff. I can study. I have the capacity to be intrigued by something.
You have the capacity. I guarantee you have the capacity. It's just that you say, hey, I have the capacity to be a father, but I'm sacrificing.
Right.
That's what I'm saying to you is, hey, you have the capacity to do all this accounting and all these formulas and whatever, but you just have no interest in it.
Oh, no, I probably did. Like, it was
your brain basically shuts down and say, hey,
you're actually giving me PTSD back to my management 200 and 201 class. Like, this is no joke. The way that Purdue works for their Craner School of Business Management, you got admitted when you were a freshman, and you had these 2 probationary years. Basically, you had like 10 core classes that everybody had to take. They were like, business management 201, management 200, which was financial accounting, business accounting, stat 10, like whatever certain. Anyway, there was all these like classes you had to take. They were like managed business related classes. There was 10 of them you had to take. And then there was the other 10 courses or so that you took over your first 2 years were like electives toward just like general credits you needed to graduate or something along those lines. If you didn't get, I think it was a 3.3 GPA or higher average on your 10 courses, you had to get complete and get a 3.3 or higher GPA to get admitted into the upper division management courses. Then you could take whatever you wanted to take and specialize in whatever you wanted to specialize in, and you didn't have to worry about taking any other bullshit classes or something like that. Well, there's one massive weed out course. It's called Management 200. It's financial accounting, and it is the worst. Like, it has one of the highest fail rates in the country of any class of students in it, right? Well, this class, like, I think I probably had like a 3.8 GPA in all my other business classes. This class, like, it was like torture to me. I mean, it was literally torture. I'm like, I would have cheated. I swear to God, integrity is one of my core values now. But if you would have put a test in front of me that said, here's all the answers, just write them down. Do you feel bad about that? I would go, fuck no, I don't feel bad about this. Like, just give me the answers. I just want to get the fuck out of here. Like, I would have not cared at all. I would have cheated on my neighbor next to me for all I give a shit. You know, I mean, like, I don't care.
You're sacrificing
Everything.
man
I'm
at
sacrificing
200.
all who I am just to get. But so here, the worst part about it is I did get a C+ in that class, and it didn't hurt my GPA enough to, like, I was still fine. But then Management 201 was the next class. So financial accounting was Management 200, and then Management 201 was like business accounting or something like that. Or it was more like business related accounting practices versus just the financial accounting stuff. And business, the Management 201 class, that was my last class I had to take before I could, my last semester of my sophomore year, before I could get admitted to my upper division classes. And you cannot go forward unless you have this minimum GPA and you've completed all these courses. Well, I got a D in that class and gave me and took me down to like a 3.2 GPA or something like that. So I couldn't go forward into my other courses my junior year. So my entire first semester of my junior year, I took tennis, I took wine appreciation, I took bowling, and then Management 201. I had to retake the course because I had to get a C or higher in that class to get my GPA back up to a 3.3. And I barely got a C in that class. I mean, I got it. Clearly, I got it. It was enough to get forward to it. But to your whole point of, like, I struggled so hard. You know what the worst thing is about C's in this world?
What?
It means you fucking tried. And you still sucked. Like, you were like at least if you're gonna be bad at something, get a fucking F. I respect people that are like, you know what? I got an F. I didn't even try. And I'm like, good for you. Like, that's fine. At least you did, like, that makes sense. I don't care about financial accounting. I'm just not even gonna try. I got an F. And I'm like, okay, well, at least they know that. Or the people that get like an A or like a B+ or something like that, they're like, this just fits me. I like it. For whatever reason, I love business accounting, whatever crap. And I'm like, and they just breeze through. I had friends of my fraternity brothers who were accounting majors. They would, every test, they would just ace it in these two classes. And I'm like, I literally am back in our fraternity and I'm at the library every night or whatever. And I'm like, can you tell me your homework? Can you give me your homework? Because I do not understand any of this. I'm struggling so hard. I'm like, please help me. For the love of God, I cannot get through this course.
Your brain just shuts down. It's like when you look at it, it shuts down.
It was like being dyslexic probably feels like. I would look at the questions and I would go, it was awful. Yeah.
I mean, there's certain things that your mind get clarity on, right? And there's certain things that your mind just blurs out. So, like in calculus, chemistry, any of those things, my mind is so sharp. When I take creative writing, like I can't even read the topic without getting blurred, guys. So you see what I'm saying? Your brain shuts down. It doesn't let you even trying to absorb the information.
Right.
So what I'm saying is everyone has their own talent, and that talent, it is what their purpose are, and they have to use it. For them to say, well, you do these. I mean, you are sacrificing so much to eat too much cake, and then you're not eating the frog, right?
You're
sacrificing the frog and eating the cake.
Right. No, you're not even like in those classes when you with like your creative writing or like financial accounting for me.
You think about it. I look at the people who does like the creative writing and the marketing, like creative marketing.
I love that stuff.
The thing is, I say these guys are genius. I mean, they have done so much work and they're so good at it. They must have spent thousands of hours on it, right? I look at those guys like Nelson Mandela, and the other people look at me like I'm fucking Nelson Mandela in chemistry, because for chemistry, like I can say, well, I can do like whatever, like I'm good at that. Right. And people look at me like, hey, this guy's a fucking genius. And when it comes to creative writing, it's like, this guy sucks so much that, you know what I mean?
So,
Don't put
it's a
yourself
beaver
down.
must dam. Like
It's a
it
beaver
goes
must
back
dam.
to
That's what.
yeah. I mean, and you can't stop yourself. Like I told you, one of my tennis buddies, I haven't played with him recently because he got hurt for a while. He's like a world-renowned mathematician. He's like Sheldon Cooper on The Big Bang Theory. He travels to China and gives guest lectures at massive universities. He used to be a Princeton mathematician, you know, a math professor. I think he's a math professor at University of Michigan now. And anyway, this guy's a brilliant mathematician, right? When I played tennis against him, he was actually the one that got me intrigued about strategy in tennis. I had never thought about it much. I'd played tennis my entire life, but the way that I always played was like, I'm just going to try to overpower you. I'm going to beat the shit out of you. I'm going to play my game, and I either win or lose. And most of the time when I was a kid, I won, right? Like, but when there's the big difference between being a kid playing tennis and being an adult playing tennis. Grown man tennis is like people that really love the game, you know, like, and they really love the strategy about it. This guy, I'm telling you about this mathematician guy, his name's Michael. He is like the least athletic looking dude you'll ever see. He can't really run fast, doesn't hit great shots, and he fucking tortures people on the tennis court. Like, I mean, it's almost like, it's so maddening. I mean, I've seen so many people, because I was on his team. That's how we met. I was on his team for a couple of years. I've never seen more people in my life that just take the racket and like chuck it, break rackets or whatever in a recreational tennis match. Against him, he was so maddening to play against. And he would beat the shit out of me all the time. And I'm like, how the fuck are you beating me? I am so much more skilled, faster. Everything about my being should be destroying you on the tennis court. And he was killing me for a long time. And eventually I was like, Michael, can you just go teach me how to play tennis? He was like, yeah, let's do it. So we would go hit all the time, and he would teach me different patterns and things like that he's looking on a tennis court. And he would always tell me, he was like, Chris, there's nothing more satisfying for me on a tennis court than watching somebody else miss a shot. And I was like, that's fucking weird, man. Don't you want to hit a winner and feel good about your shot? He's like, no, I want to torture them until they miss a shot, and I want to watch them crumble. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? You're so fucking weird. But he's so right, though. But anyway, that was all an aside to share what he told me, because I was telling him one day as we were walking off the courts, and he was talking about, I was asking about what he does, and I'm like, man, that's got to be wild. You're like some crazy world-renowned mathematician. And I'm like, I fucking hate math, you know. And he was like, why do you? I was like, I failed. I got a D. I lost my National Honor Society scholarship thing in high school. You know, whatever you got to get like a certain GPA. I crushed the GPA number. That was fine, but you can never get a D in any class. And I got a D in my advanced algebra class. For some dumbass reason, I thought I should take advanced algebra when I was a sophomore, and I got a D or something like that. And I was like, well, there goes National Honor Society, because like every other class, I think I graduated with like a 3.7 GPA or something like that. Like, I mean, and I got a D in algebra, right? And I'm like telling him this, and he was like, Chris, like, that doesn't make any sense. He was like, you're very creative and conceptual and can put together very quick concepts and understand bigger picture. You know, like, he was like, you should be really good at math. He was like, the problem isn't you're bad at math. The problem is they didn't teach you math the right way. So that makes a lot of sense, actually, Michael. I was like, I do understand a lot of, I mean, I understand all the black swan concepts, all the long tail. I understand a lot of mathematical concepts when I apply it to life, you know, and that makes sense to me. But if you were to ask me to go do statistical regression analysis on whatever, to go talk about a bell curve in a black swan event, I would be like, I would blow my brains out, honestly. But if you just tell me to talk about the concept of a black swan, I can be like, oh, well, yeah, well, that makes sense. I can apply that anywhere. Like, that's easy, you know. I suck at mathematics.
Right, because you remember we said something about learning is a lead indicator of your purpose, right?
True.
Right. So the thing is, whatever you learn is basically you have a talent for it. The talent produces the interest.
Yeah.
I mean, to say that you have the capacity to do math doesn't mean you like to do math. You have the capacity to do accounting, but you don't do the accounting. Your brain just shuts down. I mean, like I said, you know, the brain doesn't allow you to even use the neurons to even receive the input for trying to understand what it is that they're asking you to do, right? So a lot of these questions that you're trying to say, hey, you know, trying to do this, like I told you, when I was younger, you can ask me to describe you a tree, and I can't fucking do it. I mean, any fucking like 2-year-old can do it. I can't do it at 7 years old. At 10 years old, I can't do it. Right? You ask me to write 200, like 100 words. I can't fucking do 100 words. Like for you, you're probably like, that's just my intro, 100 words.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I've never.
I can't do 100 words. Like I can't put in 2 sentences, right? Because my brain fucking shuts down. So is that because I don't have the capacity to do it? I can. I just,
Yep.
for whatever reason, when it comes to that, it triggers like a switch in my brain. It shuts down. And so for me, that's something I don't do. I do other stuff. Like I say, that everybody has a certain patterns of gene that drives them to do certain things. This is what I would call purpose. And a purpose is something that you have. It is like a talent that you have to use. It's not an object you receive, right? So even you receive something, right, and you don't use it, it's not a purpose. A purpose is something you use all the time. Because
all the time.
If you get a pair of legs, you gotta walk. If you get a pair of lungs, you gotta breathe. If you have a pair of mouth like Chris does, and you have the need to communicate, even for like nonsense stuff like, hey, Pepe is walking, woof, woof, whatever, right? Like,
mi perros dice
mi perro,
woof, woof.
right? But the thing is, what's the purpose of you trying to communicate in that?
I don't know.
But you are compelled, you are driven to want to say something, right?
Right. Yeah.
For me, I just shut the fuck up. Like, even if you ask me a question, I won't answer you, right? And for you, I mean, I don't care if you are completely being like tape over your mouth, you still muffle something out.
100%. Or even if I couldn't talk, you would still see my eyebrows and my hands going.
Yes, exactly.
You know, like, yeah, no, I mean, 100%. It is a compulsive,
it is.
You know, a mechanism. Like Nelson Mandela, it was compulsory for him.
But you have fun doing it.
Right. Yes,
you have fun doing it. That's the thing. Your brain is like engaged.
Right.
If you don't have the purpose, the talent for it, your brain shuts down. It won't allow you to process it.
Look, I know that I talk a lot, but I'm pulling in concepts so quick into my head that I'm trying to make the words that are coming in my mouth intriguing for most people. I don't think that other people can do that as fast as I'm doing it. I know it. Most people, when they're talking, I know that I talk really fast, but at the same time, I'm
right. For example, right, when I talk, I can't think. So you ask me a question, right? I have to stop.
Right.
Think about it. Let my brain marinate on it. Then I can talk. And when I talk, I stop thinking. When I think, I stop talking. But for you, you come in and put out like you can keep a conversation going on. The reason why we have this great conversation is because you are the guy that facilitates that. Because I can go meet with somebody, right? I will get about 2 words in. Like me today, not me in the past. Like me today with 2 years of training under the Chris Sears, umbrella. I cannot keep a conversation with somebody because, for one, they don't have the interest. The second is like, I don't know what I want to say to them. It's like, what's the purpose? Like, I keep thinking about it. I think more than I talk. But for you, it's like, it's fluid. That's a talent you have, and you have to use it. You're compelled to use it. It's compulsory. You cannot say, I'm keeping my mouth shut. Because we try to limit your rambling on in our L10, say, hey, Chris, keep it to 5 minutes. You have never, ever made it under 5 minutes. It's always over. The point is, when you took more time, like regardless of whatever your reasonings are, you still take more time, right? Compulsory trying to get your communications out, and that's who you are. You can't stop being Chris.
All right, so this is like my text message thread that I have with like my 4 best friends. Like we've known each other since I don't know who put that title on there. I didn't do that. One of them did. So one of my friends, Adam, was asking like, about the, Medvedev and was playing Chris Eubanks in a Wimbledon match. And he was just asking questions, and I gave him an answer multiple times, about why they were asking about, like, why is he doing this or why is he doing that? So I gave him the answers. And Adam was like, hey, I'll just refer to Chris when it comes to tennis. Obviously, it's just trying to understand like match styles and why they're doing what they're doing. And our friend Kevin, it was like, Chris should call matches. And he said by the time that he explained what he saw at one point, the set would be over and the sponsors would be upset. And he was saying Chris is bad at brevity.
Chris is not bad at brevity.
Right, I can't.
No, you cannot be brief. Right. It's impossible.
My best friends that have known me since I was, this is just, when you know me, this is how I.
And your best friend knows you, we know you.
Right.
You are who you are. You cannot change it. You cannot bother. So like I say,
I've tried in my life, true. I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
No, not even on the L10. I've actually tried. No joke. Like, there's been times in my life where I'm like, I'm going to try to go a whole day without talking. Because maybe like I pissed off my girlfriend or something like that, or I did something stupid or whatever.
Yes.
I did some raccoon shit that it was like, really bad, and I probably hurt somebody's feelings by just running my mouth like I always do. And I'm like, you know what? I need to shut the fuck up, So I'm not going to talk for like 24 hours. And, somebody says something to me, I'm just going to say, Like, what happens? Take a guess. I've tried it before and I've gotten pretty close to being able to do it. But do you know what happens with other people? With me, it sucks because I feel like I can't, I'm not being who I want to be. But actually, the weird thing is what happens with other people around me.
They stop talking.
They think something's wrong with me. They're like, "Are you mad at me? Like, is there something?"
You're not who you are.
They're like, "What's wrong with you right now?" And I'm like, "Nothing. Just not saying anything."
Oh, something's wrong. Definitely something's wrong. I mean, I can tell when if you come up, if you and I meet, right, and one of these times you don't talk, right? I say, well, something's definitely wrong. Okay, what's going on? Right? Because yeah, I know who you are, right? I know that you're this kind of person, and that's who you are, and that's what you exude. You exude that, and that's basically for Chris. Trying to become Nelson Mandela.
Yeah.
The effort, right? For us to be, hey, let's say if we can even become a 1/10% of what he does, I can't even get close to it.
You locked me up in prison for 1 week on Robben Island, I would be like, "Get me out of here!" I'd be crying like
you cannot be alone for one day for a week.
I'd be talking to the prison guard. I'd be like, "Tell me about
you're talking to a wall. You're talking to a fly. You're talking to, hey man,
Jesus." It would be awful. I mean, it would be torture. Like, I would never want to do what he. Not only did he do what he did,
but my point is that it's not like that's what he has planned. That's just what he's driven to do. He's driven to do that because you ask a beaver, why do you keep building dams?
I don't know.
Right? Hey, Chris, why do you keep playing tennis?
I like it.
Money. Why do you keep talking? What's the point? What's the benefit? Why do you keep talking? That's what I'm saying. So it's not like this guy has said, "Oh, I'm go out there and now I have this grand visions and I'm gonna become this revered person and blah blah blah." Right? No, he's just being himself.
Right. I'm gonna change the world.
Yeah, I'm gonna change the world.
Yeah, for sure. Like these business, when a VC pitch nights and stuff like that, of like, we're gonna change everything, and I'm like,
no,
probably not.
You want the dollars.
Right? Yeah. Like, no, you're not. Like, you're just gonna do. Hopefully, it's what you like to do.
But most VC don't like what they do. No. The reason why I know this is because most entrepreneurs get burnout. They get burnout because the thing is, for you, Chris, how many years have you played tennis?
I mean, since I was 5.
Exactly. So you're talking about how the fuck do you get burnout if that's something you like to do?
It's not even I get burned out. I get anti-burned out. Like I'm actually should be burned out, and my body is
exactly. So my point is that statistically, entrepreneurs get burned out within a year to 2 years. What the fuck? You don't like it. Don't pretend that, hey, this is my lifeline and blah blah blah. No, you just bunch of liars. If you love what you do, right? You and I have been on this for fucking almost 3 years, okay? And to me, I don't want it to end because what do I get from it? Do I get any money from it? I'm spending time, but what I get is what I want. It's my cake. So I don't get burned out. I'm actually energized and looking forward to this every single night. So to me, do I look like I'm going to get burned out from doing this YOML thing?
No, not
at all. It's too hard. The thing is, we started YOML, right? Which is like a year and a half or almost like the mid-mark of the year and a half into the company. You and I start meeting. And we have done 277 episodes.
That's wild. Honestly, it's really wild.
So the thing, if you think about it, if I were an entrepreneur, right, and I'm doing this, I would have burned out at like 50 years.
Oh, for sure.
Right? 100%. That means that it's not cake for me. I'm eating a fucking frog every day. To me, entrepreneurs, that's to me is evidence support that most entrepreneurs don't like what they do. They have a different agenda.
I 1,000. Actually, it gets even worse in my opinion because, like, remember that High Alpha venture studio that I told you about here locally? Well, what they do is they take ideas, they do their sprint week, and they just have their teams pitch ideas of what they feel like would be a good, B2B solution or whatever, and then they go and they match up a CTO and a CEO to go take that idea if they all agree to go do it, and then they go launch a company. And like, in theory, that sounds great. Take really highly talented people, take an idea that everybody carefully vets out, you know, over the course of a week that funnels up to everybody else's thing. But the one thing that they're missing is like, is this somebody's actual problem that they're going to care about and want to go solve for forever? Is this somebody's like passion that they really love? Who are these people that are going to take this torch that you're pairing together to go?
You man out 200.
They're going to run out.
Management.
I mean, exactly. I mean, they may enjoy it for a little while, but eventually they're going to go, I mean, you know, they just want to get their money out of it.
Thing, when you get burnout,
where's the love? Is the point? Love
is a. You're just telling me that that's not what you really wanted to do. Because for me, it's like, if I have a problem, right? Because I told you, like, I have a problem. I have diabetes, right? And I have a very severe diabetes, and that's my problem. I care about that, regardless of what happens. I'm gonna be on it. Like, what you want me to do, I'll do it, right? You want me to stop eating, I'll stop eating. I do fasting. Remember?
Yeah.
You remember, right?
Yeah.
You want me to stop eating everything else except for meat? I did it.
Right.
Right? Yeah. You want me to stop drinking coffee? I did it. Because it's my problem. But when an entrepreneur, when they're trying to solve problem, it's not their problem. They have no interest in it, right? Exactly. And so that's why they get burnt out. For me, it's like, I haven't had a single drop of caffeine. Not just coffee, but caffeine. Completely no caffeine, right? Since when I told you that I read the book and I stopped, right? And it's the easiest thing. I don't get burnt out from fucking stop drinking caffeine.
You make 1,000%. You know, if it's I think Vanilla Ice said it best. You know, if there's a problem, I'll solve it. You know, check out the hook while my DJ revolves it. But that was to your point. If it's your own problem, you'll solve it, right? Like my shoulder, like you said, your diabetes, like, I'm doing 200 push-ups a day, basically. I'm doing shoulder stretches every single day. I'm like, I'm trying to take different supplements and stuff like that. I'm about to go to my mom's osteopath. I'm getting like massages stuff done every single day. I'm experimenting with different ways to hit balls. You know, right? To make sure that I don't have to stop playing tennis. Like, I mean,
exactly.
You do whatever.
And that's the thing is, when you love to play tennis, right? You're gonna do whatever. You're gonna go to like some guru or some osteopath or whatever it is. It's to allow you to continue to play tennis. When it is your purpose, because it pertains to you, you will not get burnt out. You don't get burnt out from playing tennis. You get burnt out from trying to figure out how to solve your problems. Like, oh, I'm so exhausted. I'm going to quit. I'm going to let my shoulder go wither away.
Every person that I've said, oh man, my shoulder's been so fucked for a while. Like, you know what they say? What's the first thing they say to me?
Stop playing tennis.
Yeah, exactly. The first thing I say to him is like, I'm not doing that.
Not an option. I won't even consider it. Like, I will anything else, but I gotta do this. Right? That's if you're talking about an entrepreneur liking what they do, that is the exact mentality. Like, you know, stop playing tennis. Not possible. Not gonna.
That's not the solution.
Not an option.
Not
an option. I still gotta do this, right? So whatever they're trying to solve, nothing. I mean, nothing will stop them. Except for like, you know, if they get, you know, they pass away or anything, but nothing will stop them. And that's what I'm saying is and the most entrepreneur, they get burnt out and they quit it because it wasn't what they're meant to do. So lessons learned, don't waste your time. Just like you say, what's the worst thing about getting a C? It's like, you fucking try.
It's like,
I mean, it's like,
it's embarrassing.
I don't like eating the frog, but I'm going like the gag on the fucking frog and trying it and you know, like regurgitate it out and trying to ingest it again and regurgitate it out again. That's being stupid, right? It's so awful. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your resources. Either do or don't. When you do, find something that you really passionate about, have the conviction to do, because the option is like, hey, stop playing tennis or stop doing the business, for example, right? And for you to say, hey, my shoulder is fucking falling off, but you attempting to stop playing tennis, that's an option, and I never ever will consider an option.
Hey, right? Nelson, you just got exiled from your country and you can't see your family, your children, your wife, or whatever. Like, you know, stop trying to fight for equality. No, not going to do it. Nelson, you're in jail for 27 years. Like, stop. Like, maybe we'll let you out. Or no, not like. I mean, you're exactly right. It's like, because no, that's not an option,
when you try and you suck at it, right? that means you're worse than, hey, I got an F or I got an A, right? Because at least
Right.
excel when A, when you're an F, yeah, like smart enough to say, hey, I'm not gonna waste my fucking time on this. So, what advice to entrepreneurs, right? Don't waste your time. Don't waste
Just stop.
your precious
if
your
you're getting
precious
C's,
resources.
if you're getting C's, stop. You know, like, I mean, that should be a rule for anybody. If you're getting C's, especially in higher education on anything, just stop. Like, I mean, like, just stop. Like, I mean, there is just nothing good that can come out of that. Because have you ever heard the saying "C's get degrees"?
No.
You never heard that before? Like, so there's a lot of people that say, like, yeah, you know, it's all right. C's get degrees. Who gives a shit? You know, eventually when you get your degree, you can get out of here and go, you know, like, but actually, like, after this conversation, and I've thought about this a lot, obviously, before in the past, of what it means to get a C psychologically, I guess, you know, that's the fucking worst you could be ever. I mean, if you're just getting by to just get a degree, you know, or whatever, or you're studying something.
If you barely
you know,
pass with a C, you feel like you're so exhausted after getting that C. But when it's C, it's like you're putting your best effort out and you barely made it. So you're exhausted, right?
It's only going to get worse going down the road. Let's say you wanted to be an accountant major. Like, let's just pretend I wanted to be an accounting major. For some reason in my life, somebody was like, hey, Chris, you got really good skills for accounting. You should go do that. I'm like, yeah, maybe I should. So I start to study accounting. I get C after C after C after C. And somebody goes, hey, Chris, look, I know you're getting a lot of C's, but, like, you know, C's get degrees. Stick with it. You know, you'll get your CPA license, and you know, who knows what happens when you get out into the real world. Like, it's not like academia. And I'm like, you know, all right, fine. Like, I believe that. What's most likely going to happen when I get into the accounting business world? Like, do you think that I'm going to be a good accountant? Like, do you think it's going to be something that's going to be a passion for mine? Like, I mean, if it's like,
you be the source of the legal trouble, is because
probably
you're gonna make stupid mistakes that no one should make.
But Enron or something like that, like, you know, and they're like, this dipshit will do anything, and I'm like, yeah, I know, I hate this job, it's fine.
But that's what they say, Enrons and WorldCom and whatever is out there.
Right.
It's all over the place. But that's what I'm saying. Is, you know, it's certain things that if you're not made for it, right? Don't waste the effort.
Don't go through the dip, you know, unless it is your something you just, you know, aligns to your being every single day. All right.
But that's the problem. The problem is, how do you align to a dip?
You don't. Like, if you're in the dip and you know you're in the dip, then you're in the dip, and you're not probably getting out of the dip, you know.
Is when you're in a dip, right? Just get rid of the dip.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you
just
really
get rid of it.
You said probably the most impactful thing about that conversation. I really liked it. Like, you only ever know you're in the dip when you shouldn't be in the dip, you know, because if you recognize you're in the dip, you probably need to stop what you're doing. I don't think Nelson Mandela ever was like, I'm in the dip here.
You don't think about it.
You don't think about it. Like,
for me, it's like, for you, it's like, hey, I'm struggling with tennis and my shoulder is fucking hurt right now. You're in the dip, but it's like, I'm not in the dip.
No, I just got to figure out a problem.
Again, that is when you say, right, that's not a dip for you.
Right.
It's just something that you're gonna overcome. But when you yourself recognize you're in a dip, you're like, fucking taking that, like, management, account management. You on a fucking dip, right? Just gotta go. Drop the fucking class.
Just get out of there. Yeah. Just get out of there.
Try it again. Rather than trying, like, imagine, like, eating the fucking frog and, like, throwing back up and trying to push back in.
Yeah.
Your body saying, hey,
I don't want it. I don't want it, man. Get me out of here. All right. We got to wrap for the night. This is a fun conversation. I know we can keep going for forever, but no, I think that was a fun conversation. So the question we can leave with everybody is, what powers your next step? You know, what are your, you know, don't worry about the destination. Just, you know, what's powering your next step. And if
what powers is always what we would say is purpose.
Right.
Purpose is what powers you. There's nothing. Well, it should be and has to be. Because if you don't, you are using it's
purpose power versus willpower.
Self-inflicting misery.
Well, thanks for joining, everyone, and we will see you all Monday.
Monday, maybe.
Have a good weekend.
See ya.